People who reconnected with the one who got away. What happened? I never expected a Target parking lot to change my life, but there I was, frozen between the carts, staring at Nathan. 15 years had passed, but I'd know those green eyes anywhere. He was helping his elderly mom into a wheelchair, and I nearly dropped my coffee when she pointed at me and said, "Isn't that your Annie?" Nathan and I were high school sweethearts, the kind who carved our initials into trees and planned our future kids' names. But life had other plans. His dad died suddenly during our senior year, leaving his mom alone with mounting medical bills. Nathan gave up his college scholarship to work full-time and take care of her. I still remember our last fight, me waving my acceptance letter to UCLA, begging him to come with me. Him, shoulders slumped, saying he couldn't abandon his mom. We were both crying when I drove away. Now here he was, pushing his mom's wheelchair toward me. She looked frailer than I remembered, but her smile was just as warm. "Annie, you haven't aged a day." She grabbed my hand. "Nathan, invite her to dinner. I'm making my lasagna tomorrow." Before Nathan could respond, she added, "Unless you're married?" "Divorced," I said. 3 years now. I didn't mention how Paul had left me for his 23-year-old secretary. "I'm sorry," Nathan said softly. The concern in his voice made my chest tight. His mom wouldn't take no for an answer about dinner. That night, I spent hours picking out clothes, feeling like a teenager again. When I arrived, the house smelled exactly the same, like fresh bread and lavender cleaning spray. Over lasagna, we caught up. Nathan had eventually earned his degree online while working. Now he owned a successful construction company. He'd never married. "Never found the right person," he said, looking at me in a way that made my hands shake. After dinner, his mom conspicuously announced she needed a nap, leaving us alone on the back porch. The same porch where we'd shared our first kiss at 16. "Remember that awful poetry I used to write you?" he asked. "I still have them," I admitted, "in a box in my closet." He turned to face me. "Annie, but his mom's voice interrupted us. "Nathan, help!" We rushed inside to find her on the floor, clutching her chest. The next hours were a blur of ambulance lights and hospital corridors. "Heart attack," the doctor said. She needed surgery. I stayed at the hospital with Nathan all night. When she finally stabilized, he broke down in my arms. "I can't lose her too," he whispered. During her recovery, I started coming by daily, bringing home-cooked meals and keeping Nathan company. One evening, his mom called me to her bedside while Nathan was getting coffee. "He never got over you," she said. "Every Christmas, he checks your old house, hoping you'll be visiting your parents." "I sold that house after they died," I said quietly. "I know." She took my hand. "I also know I'm the reason you two broke up. I was selfish, making him stay. You needed him." "Yes, but I also knew if he followed you to California, I'd lose him forever, so I guilted him into staying." Her eyes filled with tears. "I've regretted it every day since." When Nathan returned, she announced she was moving into assisted living. "The house is too big for me now," she said. "Besides, you two need a fresh start." 2 months later, Nathan and I were unpacking boxes in what used to be his childhood home. I found an old photo album and started laughing. "Look what I found." He came over and smiled at our teenage selves, arms wrapped around each other at prom. "We were just kids," he said. "Yeah," I closed the album. "But maybe that's what makes this better. We had to grow up first." Speaking of growing up, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a worn piece of paper. "Remember this?" It was a list of baby names we'd written in high school. At the top, in my bubbly handwriting, "Future Wallace family." "I found it in my old desk," he said. "Think it's still a good list?" I looked up at him, heart pounding. "Nathan, I'm not letting you get away twice," he said, pulling me close. "Marry me?" 6 months later, we did.